I did hire a fitness coach online who used trainer eyes. And I do have to say, luckily he's more expensive than you. So he made you guys look cheap. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I was paying him $666 a month. So he kept doing things like giving me stimulants. I took caffeine pills. I took, things to try to like rev up my metabolism. And after like about 6 months of that, I thought, you know what? This isn't working.
Hey, so today we have another warrior babe here with us. Debra is here, and she thought that the answer to weight loss was eating less, exercising more, and following the latest fad diet trends. She fasted, she cut carbs, she overtrained, only to end up feeling exhausted, stuck, and completely disconnected from her body. Menopause only made things worse. And since finding Warrior Babe, she's feeling her body properly. She's getting stronger every single day and finally free from the endless cycle of dieting. She's proof that it's never too late to rebuild, to reset, and to create the body that you love. And today, she's here to tell her story. Welcome, Debra.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here. So, for the listeners that are tuning in, can you just give a little bit of a brief info? Like, where are you from? What do you do for work? And how old are you?
So I am from Washington State, up by the Canadian border. I am 57 years young. I'm going to live to be 100. I tell everybody that.
Go.
I am a mother of two. I have two grandchildren that I watch on Fridays, pending appointments. I'm a salon owner. I've owned a salon for over 25 years. So it requires just a lot of effort, hands-on, every day. My lifestyle to fit it all in. I'm getting up at 4 in the morning so I can make it to the gym because I do start my workday at 7 o'clock in the morning. And oftentimes I don't get home until 6, 7, maybe even 8 o'clock at night to, fall into bed to do it again the next day. So that's kind
Wow.
of a synopsis of my life.
Wow. I love that you said one, 57 years young, and two, with your career, you were on your feet all day long.
Yeah.
So I know there's going to be some hairstylists or maybe even salon owners that are listening to this. They're going to be like, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
Because your story is super cool, and I can't wait to dive into it. Let's actually start there. Let's dive into where you were before. Like, what was your health and fitness situation like before you found Warrior Babe?
I have been across the board. I started working out right out of high school, doing like jazzercise and aerobics, and uh, I've always been pretty active because I've been pretty weight conscious, I think, all my life. I've had a steady lifetime of just dieting. I remember being on my first diet since I was 12, when you're kind of going through those awkward stages and not liking what your body looks like. So not accepting my body, I always felt like I needed to diet and look like the thin kids in school. So yeah, I've done them all, and I'd have to say I'm pretty good at dieting. I became a master of dieting. I do what I'm told. I felt like I dieted until my body just couldn't diet anymore. I literally, I remember I was going through that intermittent fasting stage where, people were saying, oh, they could drop 10, 20 pounds. And I fasted for freaking 3 days and lost 0 pounds. And I was just like, what is going on?
What did that moment feel like for you when you were doing that?
It was pretty defeating. I felt like I had done everything, hitting my head against the wall, and the scale's just not budging. So I it's frustrating. Very
Mhm. And with you mentioning that you tried so many diets and that you're really good at dieting, what do you feel like was the most frustrating part about constantly switching from like one to the next?
the rebound, like dieting, losing weight, gaining it back, to try another diet, to lose weight, to gain it back. And honestly, I know you have, competed. I was in the bodybuilding circuit for like 10 years, and I thought that was going to be my answer to handling menopause, was to be able to I didn't die. I didn't compete to get on stage. I competed because I wanted to get a handle on food.
Mm.
So, you go through the 12-week prep, you get down to, your perfect look to get on stage, to just have it rebound afterwards. And I have to say, I cried out for help. I would like ask my coach, I would ask people like, how do I reverse out of this and not balloon up? And all I got was eat normal. Well, when you have a person that has dieted their whole life, what is normal? Like, I didn't know what normal was. I only know what restriction was. So again, that weight just comes back on every single time, right? So I think that was the frustrating part is I did ask for help. I'm like, how do I reverse diet out of this restriction and not just regain everything I've just lost? So
Wow. That
grief.
had to feel, yeah, that had to feel super defeating in terms of like you trusted a coach for so long to go and do a
Yeah,
competition with them and step on
yeah,
stage, which takes a lot of trust and and
yeah,
commitment to do that. And then at the end of it, all you wanted to, at a sense, deeper level is like you didn't feel heard in the sense of like what is normal to you, what is normal to that person is
yeah,
normal to you is completely different.
absolutely. Yeah.
And you wanted support.
Pride themselves on giving you a meal plan instead of giving you macros. And I felt like that was just like keeping you stuck because you never learned how to figure out your macros yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was in the macros, right? Like your protein, your carbs, your fat, and even though I would like try to put it on the MyFitnessPal and try to figure out the macros, it just wasn't looking right to me. So I had no idea what I was doing.
How that when you were trying to do the MyFitnessPal, because I can resonate with your story so much because I remember standing in my kitchen after a competition being like, I need to get this macro game underway. But it was so hard for me to pull away from the normal meal plan that I was doing, was chicken, broccoli, rice, and tilapia and egg whites. How did you feel in that moment? Like, how long did it take you to like try to do macros at the beginning before Warrior Babe? And then what did it make you feel like when you were trying to go down that avenue?
Well, I did hire a fitness coach online who used Trainerize, and I do have to say, luckily he's more expensive than you, so he made you guys look cheap. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I was paying him $666 a month, and he used Trainerize. He gave me macros. He gave me workouts. I do have to say, comparing them to what I'm doing with WarriorBabe, my workouts were almost too much, and my macros were probably about where I am in maintenance now. But I don't think and I told him about my dieting history. I'm not sure he knew how to up my macros before we could drop. So he kept doing things like giving me stimulants. I took caffeine pills. I took, things to try to like rev up my metabolism. And after like about 6 months of that, I thought, you know what? This isn't working. Like, this is not the answer. And I did join the Warrior Babe Blueprint in 2001. And I was, trying to work it out on myself and go through some of the modules. And I think I just like kind of fell off the wagon and didn't do that. But it was after this last, trainer experience, I realized, you know what, I need to work with somebody one on one. And I'm already at the point where, I can't really reduce calories because that's not working. And I can't work out more because that's not working. So
Mhm.
when I first joined Warrior Babe, I got your wonderful Monique, and she's so awesome. I love her. And the first thing she did is she's like, girl, you need to slow down. We need to take away some of those workouts. We need to give you rest days. And it was the first time in a long time I hadn't worked out 7 days a week.
That was gonna be my next question. How many days were you working on a week and for how long?
7 days a week. I'd go to the gym, do like a 1 hour lift, and then go to a cardio. Or we'd go hiking, for an hour and a half hike on the weekends. But it was every day was something. And
How did that so being in that state with eating like overtraining
yeah.
and feeling exhausted, like how did that make you feel physically and mentally?
Well, physically, I felt like I was restricting, and then I would get so hungry. It wasn't like I would binge, but I know that whatever I would eat, because I was just so famished, your body's
Mhm.
starving, that I would overeat in those moments. So I think it was just hard to balance out that restriction and that overeating because my body was just so hungry.
Mhm.
I was just like, I just couldn't have an even kill. I just couldn't be like, I don't know, normal,
Wow.
right? Yeah. So I think it was just caught. It was too much.
Before we dive into you working with Mel, and I'm curious to see how you handled like, taking the well, you probably went through a retrain, right? So you had to go up in calories. And
Yes.
I'm curious to know how you felt with like the overtraining, but and then slashing that down.
Yeah.
But before you mentioned that you felt like menopause was a monster
Oh my
and then
gosh.
it took over your body. Can you describe like what do you mean by that? Like what did that feel like?
Well, I was going through menopause like right through COVID. So right when you were like not going to the gyms, you were walking every day and going on hikes, but you know, I was literally going through menopause through COVID. So I just felt like my body was just getting like bigger by the day. I was more tired. I had brain fog. I just didn't like the body I was in. I would put on my clothes. I would bulge over them. I didn't feel good in anything I put on. And then I was just getting to where I just didn't love myself.
Mm.
And when you don't love yourself, I think it's hard on your partner because they love you unconditionally, but you just don't feel like you have much to give them if you don't love yourself first. So,
100%.
so I was not good in my body, but I also knew I needed to do something to change.
How did like you constantly trying to fix your body with different diets affect like how did that affect your mindset? And how did it affect your I'm curious with your relationship with food? I mean, going from back and forth and already having a restricted mentality. Like where was your head at with that?
Well, there at the end, that was when I was doing the intermittent fasting and what and extremely under eating. And because I was just so desperate to like lose some weight. I'm like, people, how does it come off? Like how because I already eat fairly well. So I already eat like whole foods. I don't really do a lot of processed foods. I was eliminating, uh foods that were inflammatory to my body. I was just doing all of these things, and I just was at my end. I just didn't know where else to go.
What was the hardest part about like trusting yourself after years of doing yo-yo dieting and going back and forth and back and forth?
I I compare it to maybe like being an alcoholic, where you have to
Mm.
surrender yourself and go, I need help. Like I can't do this on my own. I need help. I need professional help.
Okay, Q and Warrior Babe. What like you how did you find Warrior Babe? How did you like take the and what made you take the leap?
It was a Facebook ad that you put on. And I'd been listening to your podcasts. So just every time I listened to your podcast, like everything just started like resonated resonating with me. And so I instinctively knew what I needed to do. And I tried it myself and it just didn't work. I didn't have the knowledge to do it myself.
Mm.
So it was kind of like I knew that I needed to like up my calories, but how do you do that? Right? How do you
What was it that stuck out to you the most about like the things that you were hearing? Well, what resonated with you? What was that ad and what did you keep hearing in the podcast?
I kept hearing that that when you're constantly dieting, you can't just like you have nowhere you can't go down anymore. Like it doesn't work. And that was just like the light bulb was going off. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm under eating. I can't keep restricting. Like that's not going to work, right?
Mm.
And I kept hearing kind of my story, and then hearing that it got better and if there were results.
Love that. Yeah, we do have very similar stories in the competition world for sure. And like
Yeah.
the I remember asking my coach what macros were and how I could apply them to live a more sustainable life. And his comment was, "We don't do macros here. We eat like this if you want to be on stage and compete." I'm like,
Yeah.
"But I see other people using macros to compete. Why can't we?" And it just like it felt like it was like all like either this or nothing.
Right. Right.
And yeah, and it resonate with you because like I rebounded hard. I didn't know how to reverse, and it just was all confusing at the beginning. Um, I love that you found us, and I love that those things resonated with you, and I love that you trusted us. And my motto: trust us now, believe us later. And
Yeah.
you're working with one of the most incredible coaches.
Yeah.
Hopefully, no other coaches are listening to this, but everyone knows that Mo is amazing. When you first started your journey, like, what were your initial thoughts?
I was just going to render myself and do whatever she said. So
Wow.
I just like, and we actually have kind of a funny story. I don't know if Mo wants me sharing this, but on one of the my training week, she accidentally put in like two workouts and didn't see that. And then I just like me, I'm just doing what she says, right? And I actually did the two workouts. And then she kind of looked at it later and she's like, I'm so sorry, but I hope you didn't do both those workouts. And I look back and I'm like, but I did. She goes, you did? And I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm just doing what I'm told. I said, yeah, I thought it was freaking hard and an extra long workout, but I'm like, well, Mo wants me to do it. I'm just going to do it because that's what she says. So we still laugh about that.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So at the beginning of your journey, like knowing what you shared with me so far here, you've been told so many different things about food and training and X, Y, and Z in that realm. How hard was it to, because you seem like you're like, I just want to listen and I just like surrender, but like how hard was it to let go of like preconceived ideas about all of those other things that you tried? There's so many women that have tried so many things and they think that like, oh, but this worked before and it's like in their brain. How hard was it for you to let go of all of that?
Honestly, it was hard at times. I'll be honest, but at the end, like I had to let those things go because they worked once. They were kind of one trick pony, and then when I tried them again, they weren't so successful. But I
Mm,
tried, some of the things, same things over and over, like Weight Watchers and Nutrisystem. And the last time I tried Nutrisystem, I actually gained weight on their processed foods because I was not eating processed foods forever. So they give you the little meals, prepackaged meals. And I'm like, how do you freaking gain weight on when somebody you know, makes your meals for you, right? And I'm just
yeah.
like, how does that happen? And then it dawned on me, I was probably eating less than that before. And then now I'm eating crap processed food, more calories. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
Wow. Deborah,
yeah,
I've talked to so many warrior moves throughout the years, and I don't think that there's been one that has tried as many things as you have tried and are speaking to the different aspects of like even that part, like doing Nutrisystem and gaining weight. And somebody was telling you to make your meals, like you were in a lot of like confusion of going
yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth and what is real and what is not and what should I do.
Yeah, because like I said, they worked the first time. Like every time,
Yeah.
first time, or at least earlier on, diets worked for me. But then just as I've gotten older, and just so many years of chronic dieting, you just get to a point to where they're just not so successful.
Right. So for context, because people are probably wondering, without sharing your results yet, because we're going to get there, how overweight were you? Like, what was your weight? What was your height? Like, where were you at
Well,
there along this journey?
I'm 5'4", and I was pushing 180 pounds.
Wow.
So I was feeling like, chubby bunny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah, not feeling good in my skin at all.
I'm sure. Were you skeptical okay, so we were working with Mo and you joined Warrior Babe. Were you skeptical about eating more and training less? And like, how did your mindset shift over time?
No, because I think some of the research that I've done, I realized that when you're at such a deficit, you can't go down from there. So at some point, you do kind of have to push those numbers up and safely. And I know there's a system to that. I just that's just not in my realm of knowledge. And so that's where I knew Ramo would come in. She would help me with that. And I do have to say, as much as I trusted her, going up a little bit after I felt like I was already at my max was still hard. I spent like 8, 9 months in retrain. And I knew it needed to take that long, but that it was hard. I won't lie.
What
Like
was hard about it?
actually eating all the food. Like I had to make myself eat the food. I wasn't hungry. I
Yeah.
get my macros in, and that was hard. It's like force feeding yourself. So I super hard.
Where were you, what calorie wise when you started, and where did you get to in retrain?
Oh gosh, I'd have to look back, but I know when I started, I was about 1,200 calories a day. And she had me, I would say maybe 2,200.
That's
So,
double.
yeah. So, and working out less. So that was the like super confusing part is like, I really just had to just trust her because I
Yeah.
like I had nowhere else to go. I tried everything else. I had nowhere else to go.
What were your results when you got through retrain? Like, did you gain a little bit of weight initially? Did you lose weight?
Yeah, I gained a little bit of weight, and then you'd have that fluctuation throughout the week. I'd go up a few pounds, down a few pounds, and I think all of retrain, I may have gained 5 pounds. So not bad, right?
I only gaining 5 pounds. How did you
Yeah.
feel during that?
Even gaining the 5 pounds, it was still uncomfortable. Like I felt like I was just gonna like bulge out of my skin. My breasts were getting so hard. I was getting rashy underneath every time I would work out. It was just like I was super uncomfortable. But I knew that the next stage it would come off because I did all that work. So as uncomfortable as it was, I just had to trust that that's what my body needed to just recover.
I hope that a lot of women are listening to this because there's so many in terms of like you trusting the process and knowing, like you had a knowing that you felt like you were being guided in the right direction and that you just had to trust the process and you had confidence in your coach. And because there's a lot of women that go through the retrain phase and they will back out and they'll try and
Yeah.
revert back to said, X, Y, and Z diet that they've tried, thinking that
Like
that's going to help them.
because you're getting in your own head and you're trying to control the situation. I mean, for me, it's like if I'm going to pay money to hire a coach, I should probably listen to what they have to say. And otherwise, I might as well just pay myself to do whatever, right? Like,
Can you say that louder?
for those in the back.
For those in the back, can you please say that louder? So, okay. What did you end up, how many days a week did you start working out? You went from 7 to what?
Uh, 4. It was
Wow.
super crazy. It was super crazy. Yeah, I would even like just kind of like walk my dog around the block just because they were tired of not getting their walks in. But it was
Oh,
yeah.
wow, that's pretty mind blowing, right? Like you were overtraining,
and
under eating.
and even in the competition world, like you work out. I mean, I don't know if you did, but we worked out twice a day.
Yeah, I
So,
was doing cardio in the morning, and then I went back to do my lifting session, and then I had to do cardio after that.
oh yeah, I had an hour lift, 45 minutes of cardio, and then a second 45 minutes of high intensity cardio 6 hours later. Yeah, and so going from 2 times a day, I felt like once a day was a break, right? So
Yeah.
where you've been, right? I felt like 7 days once a day was giving my body a break. So
Mhm.
that's where my head was at.
Yeah. Okay, so you eating more. What
Yeah.
phase are you in now?
I'm in maintenance.
You're in maintenance. What do your
Yeah.
maintenance calories look like right now?
I believe they're like 17, 1,800 calories. Yeah.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
57
Yeah.
eating 1800 calories.
Like, I think through in maintenance, I've actually lost like a couple of pounds. So
That's
it's weird. It just kind of like inches down just a little bit. It's just, I'm not really watching. I don't really care because I'm just enjoying, having my food.
so what's that mindset shift? Because at the beginning you're like, you're fasting and the scale wasn't moving. And now
Yeah.
you're like, I just don't even care. I don't even look at a
Yeah.
number.
It's
It's a huge shift.
I don't have to really think about it. I just prep my food, I make it, and then I just like throw it in the fridge and make sure I get it in. So just
I love that. That's a huge transformation. And okay, let's talk about since you joined Warrior Babe. Now we can talk about your results. Like, where are you at in your journey now?
I actually just weighed in this morning at like 149. So yeah, I just broke that 150 plateau, and so in maintenance. And then most talking maybe somewhere down the road we might do a fat loss again. But you know what? I could do it again, or I could not do it again. At this point, I'm like thrilled.
So it's 30 pounds down.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
does it make you feel?
You know what? I feel amazing. I like. like I feel like I'm on cloud nine. It's pretty incredible. And I have only you guys to thank. I just wish that, you know, I would have listened to you earlier, like when I was looking at the blueprint that I was that's my only regret. But maybe I don't think I was just not in that headspace. I was still kind of me driving the boat, I was still driving the ship. So
100%.
yeah,
It clicks when you're ready. When you're
yeah,
ready for it to be,
right.
for you to hold it and for you to take it on. And I think it came at the perfect time for you
Yeah.
in your journey. Let's talk about some of the top achievements that you've had. So that's huge. What else have you had like that you could look at and say, I'm proud of myself for accomplishing this?
Oh my gosh, just getting back into some of my clothes that I like set aside in the closet. I had these beautiful boots that don't have zippers. And like I remember just trying to put them on and they wouldn't even go up over my calves. Like it was so frustrating, like just I didn't know how I was going to ever get some of my favorite clothes on again. And now I slide them on and I can put my fingers, down in their space. So it just feels so good, to like go shopping and not, almost be repulsed at what you see when you're trying on clothes, or the size.
Totally.
Yeah.
What is this? How many sizes have you dropped?
Oh gosh. Well, I was wearing size 10s, but they were super, super tight. Yeah, yeah. And so and now I think these last ones are like size 6. So, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go. You also mentioned too that you were giving yourself grace, or you learned how to give yourself grace in the journey.
yeah.
How has that changed, like your approach to food and approach to training and approach to your progress?
I've learned that if I'm super tired that morning or I've had a bad day at work, I've learned that I can take a break and then I can do that workout later. I don't have to force myself to get up and do it like no matter what. Because that was the mindset that I was in previously. It's like no matter what, you you just did what you had planned. And now I give myself permission to change the plan a little bit.
Oh man, I love that. People need to hear that. People are worried they can't like on 5 days a week or you have 4 days a week and it's like the program says I need to do a workout on a Monday, Tuesday, on a Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
And let's say they wake up Tuesday and they're extremely sore and tired and then they push themselves to go, and that's probably not the best bet. You can move that to Wednesday
Right, right.
and have some breaks in between. I love that you have learned that.
Yeah, and mine would be sometimes my work schedule. If I just got home way too late and then I'm getting in bed and the alarm goes off at 4 in the morning and I've only got 5 hours of sleep, I will literally wake up with a headache now if I don't get my sleep.
Yeah.
So if I'm waking up with that headache, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna shut the alarm off. I'm gonna sleep, and then maybe I'll just switch that workout to Saturday.
Love that. How has WarriorBabe changed like your overall outlook on aging, on menopause, and on long-term health?
Wow. I just feel like it just makes it so much easier. Like I'm not, I'm postmenopausal now, so I feel like, I need to keep doing the program. It never stops, right? But I've learned so much that it makes me just want to take care of my body and keep it healthy. And I want to be active to be able to do things with my grandkids and just live as long as I want to live without, um, you know, falling or being fragile or any of those things. I feel like it's really going to be the key to youthfulness.
Yes, I love that. And you've been in WarriorBabe's ecosystem for 4 years now,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
How long have you been a VIP member?
Just for 2. It's my second year. Yep.
Wow. And you've been with Coach Mo the whole time?
Yep. Yep.
What do you think if you never made the change? Like, where do you think you'd be today?
I think I would still be struggling. I think I
Mhm.
would still be just trying to like search for the right thing that works. And then, maybe even researching like postmenopausal, because I mean, it was a lot harder. I do have to say, after menopause, it's just a lot harder. So, yeah, but you've got to fuel your body, and properly fueling your body is really the key.
Mhm. So thinking about you being postmenopausal now, and you've been in the ecosystem for 4 years. So you were going through menopause when you joined Warrior Babe's ecosystem.
Yeah, I was in the perimenopausal stage. Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, I was there for quite some time. Yeah.
Wow, that paints a different picture in my mind too now, because in terms of like you accomplished losing 30 pounds in during this journey. And a lot of women think like this is like doomsayers, like this is like they're like you mentioned menopause was a monster. Like, everyone experiences it. Yeah. But they think like there's no way out. Like they think like this is it, and the doctors are telling them this is something you have to just accept. Like, what would you tell that woman that's listening to this right now that may be perimenopausal or even in the midst of menopause?
Yeah.
Um, what does she need to hear?
Well, you guys do a lot of great podcasts on addressing hormones and cortisol, and I did kind of tackle that first. I was, because I going through perimenopause, I was getting a little crazy in the head, and I was feeling a little unstable. And I talked to my regular doctor, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you're just gonna feel that way for a while." And I thought, no, 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 no. Like somebody's probably gonna die, and it's not going to be me because I'm a loose cannon. I felt it inside. I felt like I could go off at any time. So I ended up working with a functional medicine doctor, and we got on some hormones, and I felt a ton better. Although it did, I mean, it's not a quick fix. Just being on those hormones didn't help the weight fall off. So it really does take just a lot of effort. I mean, you really have to pay attention in the detail and the detail
Yeah.
macros and the workouts and the rest. I mean, it's just, it's all of it.
Less is more.
First, yeah. And thought, right? When you come
Yeah.
from, you know, it's never
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Now, how long does it, I'm thinking about macros. How long does it take you to do your macros in a day now?
How to do them?
Like, how long does it take you to do them? Like,
Oh, actually, for work, I pretty much like, I pre-do my work week because I eat the same thing for 4 days. But on my days off, I mean, it's already like, I have my food list there. So I don't know, 2 minutes?
let's go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because so many people think like this is gonna like it takes forever, or it's like, time consuming. It's gonna take me like it's so frustrating because it takes so long. But like anything, you have to just do the work for a couple weeks, and then you get faster and faster, and then
Uh, And then you just get to know, like, what you like. So you just kind of keep in your house, in your fridge and your pantry, all the things that work within your macros and that you like. And so it's pretty much, it makes it so much easier. Although I do have to say, Coach Mo gets on my butt about having like too much dairy, or, oh, you're getting too many shakes in a day. Because I get a little lazy on the weekends and I start doing like 2 protein shakes. And she'll be like, okay, well, now that's enough.
oh, I love that. I love
I
that.
say I get a little cocky and I get a little lazy, and sometimes push the easy button, and then she'll just like reel me back in and go, okay, that's, you're getting just a little bit too much of this. Let's And then the VIP group, and the macro group helps because people post their recipes, and I've tried some incredible, like the one thing I'm eating now is the protein bagel. I mean, who would have think that you could make a protein bagel? So that's been my, like, I'm like protein this and protein that. So I'm just learning lots of new recipes, and
Oh, that's awesome.
very helpful because it kind of just, it makes it so you're not too repetitive in your meals.
How does it feel to have like a community of women behind you, and that are, on the same journey as you are, and you get to be in that small group and share those recipes, and how does it
Yeah,
feel to have that?
see women of all walks of life, fulfilling their goals, and it's amazing. It's amazing because you feel like, even though I'm not always, posting things because I get kind of busy, it's fun to just listen to the chitter chatter on, what the topic of the week is, or what the new recipe is, or or what they do in their off time. It's just fun.
Yeah. And I think it's so cool that you have Mo in your corner. I think that's an amazing. You need people like that when you're on your journey, especially
Yeah,
for her to be like, "Hey, yo, like stop pressing the easy button. Let's like put some
yeah,
better food in
yeah,
there."
yeah.
What? How? Can,
She will call me out every time. Yeah.
love that. I love that. Shout out to Coach Mo. That's a good. That's a great coach. What? How? In your perspective, like, Why is it important to have a coach and work with a coach?
Because they know more than you. I mean, I don't know how long I'd have to go to school to learn what she knows. I mean, she's invaluable. I mean, I wish I knew as much as her, but maybe I wouldn't listen to myself knowing, what she knows. You know what I mean? It's kind of, she looks at everything objectively too, right?
Mhm.
So, um, she's just another set of eyes on my workouts, on my meals, those sort of things.
Oh, I love that. What would you say to somebody right now that's listening to this who feels like they've tried everything and nothing works?
Well, I know when you look at the price, you feel like, it can be kind of spendy, but I feel like if you're willing to do the work, your coach, it 100% works, but you can't be the one trying to drive your own ship. Like you can't try to control and not do what your coach says. You really do just have to listen to them. They do know what they're talking about. Very knowledgeable.
Hmm. And I think something that I've admired about you during this interview and getting to know your story even more is that you trusted the process. So, what would you, if someone, like, imagine someone being afraid to step away from doing the extreme dieting or yo yo dieting, like, what advice would you give them to just like trust the process?
Well, I mean, I've been I'm kind of a controller, so sometimes I don't always listen to other people, but if you do that enough, you realize that the people who know what they're doing are worth listening to. And so I've, listened to several of your coaches online, in the podcasts and the weekly chats, and everybody has so much information. There's a plethora of information out there. And for women who are hesitant, if you are willing to step away and just listen, but yeah, you can't, it works, but you can't try and, undermine yourself from behind because that's not going to work and you're wasting your money.
Wow, that's some valuable information right there. Valuable insights, Deborah. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. Is there anything else I didn't ask you that you would want to make sure gets shared or said here?
No, I think we talked pretty much about everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. And to everybody that's listening, like just a reminder that, Deborah's journey, as you heard, it's a reminder that doing less of the wrong things and more of the right things makes all of the difference. Deborah let go of restrictive diets. She trusted the process, and now she's in the best place that she's ever been physically and mentally, especially hearing this story, like how excited you are about your results and the work that you've put in, everything that you're proud of that you've accomplished. So if you guys are listening to this and you've been stuck on the same cycle and wondering like if real change is even possible, take the first step. Go to WarriorBabe.com, check it out, like listen to these stories. There's so many more on the website. But just know that you're not alone and you can figure it out with the team of the coaches that we have. But Deborah, thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here.
You know what? Thank you for just having your program. It's been a lifesaver.
That literally is music to my ears and warms my heart. That's why I wake up every day to do what I do. So
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for trusting in us.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing what you do.